Greetings today. Thank you for inviting me into your space. I pray that this word ministers to your heart and to your spirit. So let's just jump right into it. Now, Lord, let the words of my mouth and the thoughts of my heart be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, my strength and my redeemer. One of my favorite passages in the Bible is Isaiah 43, verses 1 through 3. I'm going to read it to you now from the Message Bible. Hear ye the word of the Lord. But now God's message. The God who made you in the first place, Jacob, the one who got you started, Israel, don't be afraid. I've redeemed you. I've called you by name. You are mine. When you're in over your head, I'll be with you. When you're between a rock and a hard place, it won't be the end. When you're in rough waters, you're not going to drown because I am God, your personal God. Today, I want to spend a few moments sharing with you from the topic, God's got you. God's got you. There's almost nothing more reassuring than to hear someone say, I got you. Life is hard, and it's even harder if you think you're out here by yourself. So when somebody we trust or even hope that we can trust says, I got you, man, that is a really good feeling. As a parent, when you're used to paying for everything all the time, when your child says, hey, I got it. I got you, Mom. My son told me at dinner the other night, I got you. That's a really good feeling. It helps to just be present in the moment when you know that somebody's got you. I've been on vacation to Mexico the past week, but it really wasn't intended to be a vacation. I went as mom. My kid had a new baby and my grandson was turning 5, and the grand said, well, Grandma, you got to be here. It's necessary for you to be at my party. So of course I went all ready to babysit and clean house and do parties and do all the things that I would normally do. And I got there and found sick kids and exhausted parents and other relatives. And, it just really wasn't what I was expecting to have happen. So I was like, okay, well, what do I do next? And while there were some adventures that I really was interested in taking, I wasn't really sure about taking these adventures by myself. I mean, I'm not really all that confident of traveling in a foreign land alone. I don't swim, and everything I wanted to do was in the water. I don't speak the language very well. I never know if I'm paying too much or tipping too little. And I just didn't even have a lay of the land. I mean, I kind of know how to get around my son's area, but I didn't know how to get around anywhere else. And as I was having all of these doubts, I had to check myself. I had to check myself and say, there are a lot of things that I don't know. But what I do know, I have some solids. I've got some solids in my pocket. I know how to Google. And I know that I'm a pretty good human. And I'm discerning and can trust my gut. And I'm pretty smart. I can figure things out, even if only mostly. And I know that I've wasted a lot of time and energy and dreams worrying about the what ifs. What if I get lost? And what if I get hurt? And what if I get gone and nobody knows where to find me? What ifs can keep us from some amazing experiences in life. So I decided to venture out, and as a result of venturing out, I joined this group and we rode bikes to cenotes, and I jumped off a cliff and I snorkeled with the fishes, and a macaw danced on my head, and I sat in the deep Mayan cave in a pool of mineral water in darkness, just listening to the sound of void. And I slept in the jungle, and I rode a bike from one city to another city just to see another beach. It was amazing. So this thing happened, that I wanted to see the water under this cave, under this ledge, and I couldn't swim because I don't swim. I couldn't get down there. But my guide, he said, if you go through this passageway here, just keep your head down. You'll be able to see you'll be able to see part of the cave. And so I'm like, okay, good, I'm in. So I got my snorkel stuff on and I start through the passage. And I'm like, don't let me drown, Deidre. And he's like, I got you. Okay. So I start through the thing, and my head goes in the water, and it was so beautiful that my head went in the water more, and literally in over my head between a rock and a hard place, freaked out. Deidre, he's like, lady, he's like, I told you I got you. I'm a master diver. I'm not going to let you drown. I got you. In Isaiah, God wanted to assure the children of Israel that as they were coming up on 70 years of Babylonian captivity, as they were on their way out, God wanted to assure Israel, I got you. The Israelites were between mourning that they had blown it in the promised land and hopeful yet maybe fearful of what was ahead. They were embarking on a time of transition. They were transitioning from oppression to liberation, from captivity to freedom, from basically a timeout to being back in the game. For some, school can seem like Babylonian captivity. We're carted off to a land we don't know, made to do things that are hard, missing the comforts of home, trying our best to get out without having to repeat anything, sorry for the time that was wasted, yet nervous about our next. This time of year can bring back memories of and longing of easier days when all we had to worry about was where we were going to swim or what we were going to play or who we were going to talk to on the phone. And then later, maybe and as we got older, days of what was going on at the summer job and, the stuff that would happen at the summer job. So at some point, summer play and summer jobs gave ways to the last summer that brought you here. And now here you are. Here you are in another space of transition. At the end of another term, you've worked hard all year and tried your best. And as this term culminates, I know for myself, there's a lot of doubting. Were my efforts enough? What is this about wanting to stay in a familiar space with good friends, but yet also excited about leaving, grieving the loss of what is, but unsure about what's next, hoping our best was good enough, but just not quite sure if it's going to make the grade. And often our stress in a space of transition is centered around these feelings of internal conflict, like how can I miss home and want to stay? How can I be glad to be out but also not be glad to be done? How can I be confident about what I've learned and also unsure if I'm going to be able to remember it? These feelings are feelings of duality, and they're real. And they exist within all of us at different points in times. If we're honest, really honest, these feelings exist because life is fluid, in and out, both and. It's different and the same, all in the same space. You see, life is a series of processes, a continuous journey. Maybe you've heard the saying that it's not the destination, it's the journey. I know in my head, I'm like, yeah, you could think that if you don't have to produce a grade at the end of it. But to add struggle, added struggle to the stress of the fluidity of life, we have to prepare our mind and our body and our spirit for these things, this trial, this week of fire called Finals Week, where there's no more do-overs, no more procrastinating, no more vacillating. It's just time to get it done or what? That's when the what ifs begin to taunt. What if I don't get this paper in? What if it isn't what is expected? What if I'm in over my head? What if I disappoint my family or those who invested in me? What if all I've done just isn't enough? I wonder if really in the deep places, the questions that we ask are really more about ourselves than they are our work. I mean, what if I'm not enough? What if I'm not smart enough or prepared enough or knowledgeable enough? Or what if I'm just not ready enough? What do my grades say about who I am? What if I disappoint those who have believed in me? What if I don't meet expectations? What if I don't keep my scholarship? What if? But what if? What if you are? You see, life is filled with movements. And like the ocean, the waves that move in and move out, crashing and rescinding, fluidity, continuous moments. And with these moments, when the waves hit the shore, they leave something on the shore and they take something back. And while the ocean looks the same, it is forever changed, and it's changed in deep spaces that really you would only know if you went deep enough to see. So what if? What if the grades don't reflect the effort? What if the test doesn't ask what you know? What if the next is unsure and unknown? What if grief overwhelms joy? What if? What if final is only the beginning? Life is filled with ever-moving unknown, so many uncontrollables. But you have some solids that you can pull from. You know how to research. You're a good human. You know you can trust your gut, and you've proven over and over again that you're smart enough to figure things out, even if only mostly. And you've been in some uncertain times before, and you've been afraid, and you've been in over your head, and you have made it through. You have made it out. And like the Israelites, we can be both ready for and nervous about our next. Like the Israelites, we can have witnessed God's power and still doubted our safety. We have experienced God's love, but we can still doubt our own worth. Like the Israelites, we can both know God's power and need assurance. This passage in Isaiah is a passage of assurance. Listen again. Don't be afraid. You are not out there by yourself. I got you. You are mine. When you're in over your head, I'm with you. And you're going to be in rough waters, but don't worry. You're not going down. I got you. When you're between a rock and a hard place, and you will be, it's not the end. I'm in that space with you, and I got you. Because I am your God, your personal God. I'm not here today to reveal some deep secret, but rather to assure you of a deep truth. Whatever it is for you, my friends, grades or projects, moving home or moving on, leaping into or eking through your next, God's got you. This time is filled with stress, but stress does not have to fill you. Lean into what you know is true. Lean into the one who you know is true. The God who has us, friends. The God who has always had us. The one who revealed himself to Moses as I am that I am, the one who the Israelites called Jehovah, the one who the Greeks called the unknown God, and Paul revealed as the one true God, and the one whom John declared as the God of love, the God who is love. This God existed in void. This God is the one who birthed life into the universe, the one who orders the sun and the moon and the stars and keeps them all in their place, the one who sucks up water from the earth and rains it down again, holds still the hand of time and will be when time is no more. That's our God, the same God. And friends, before you were born, before there was time, there was you. And the thought of you, the hope for you, the need for you. And now you're here. You are here in the image and likeness of God. You are here. And the Spirit of God is like the ocean within you. And it moves in and it moves out. And it takes and it leaves. It deposits and it receives and it changes you in your depths. And some may never see it unless they go deep, really deep, but it's there. And this is what is happening inside you. And you are being prepared now for future times, because time will always be filled with transition and life is ever fluid, ever changing. But this one thing we know for sure is that God is the same yesterday, today, and forevermore. And the God who has always been with you is the God who will always be with you. And this is the God who is on your side, and God's got you. God's got you in the test. God's got you on the projects. God's got you in the papers. God's got you in the moves. God's got you in the stays. God's got you in the new. God's got you in the same. God's got you. God has always had you, and God will always have you. So just look up, my friends, and see your guide. Hear your guide say, lady, mister, person, look up here. I got you. I'm not going to let you drown. I'm right here in this space with you. This isn't going to be the end. Whatever it is, the final is the beginning, and God's got you. Amen.